Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Season 1 finale of Star Trek Honasto, a Klingon game of Star Trek adventures using the first edition rules by Modifius Entertainment. My name is ELH, the Game Master, and joining me, as always, are four lovely Klingons who will meet right away, because we've got a lot to do today. Because if we don't wrap up the season today, then we're on another 2-week break. So we want to try and finish up today.
Skipping the break.
Yeah, before we go on break again. But yeah, let us start with Steadfast Pig.
Hello, I'm Steadfast Pig. I am playing Brigadier General Akrak of House Koloth. We had some fun diplomacy/battle stuff, and now I think we're going to continue along, so I'm excited to see how we deal with that.
All right, Kern.
I'm Kern, and I play Captain Dagon, son of Ken, and I certainly have found First Contact very interesting.
Donut.
Hello, I am Donut. I play Captain Honasto, all things medical, and looking forward to a good time and figuring out just how our differences and similarities may pan out.
Yeah.
All right, and last but not least, Monjadin.
Good day, folks. Monjadin playing Colonel Mori, son of Povich of House Makild, Klingon drunk-ass lawyer about to discover the limits of the Honasto's medbay as it relates to hangover recovery.
Yeah. Oh, right. You super blitzed, aren't you? Like,
Yeah, you done goofed last time.
Yeah, the designated diplomat could not handle his blood wine and decided to go Klingon. Hell yeah.
Respectable.
Mm-hmm.
Honorable.
All right, well, let's run that intro and then we'll get started. And welcome back. So, since it has been quite some time since we played last, I thought I would once again do the recap. So, where we last left off, the crew or the senior staff of the I.K.S. Honasto have made first contact with the Drin in Klingon fashion. They not only challenged Champion Astizia, the champion and commander of the Drin people, to an honor duel, but they also revealed that apparently the Drin are a little bit more related to the Klingons than was initially thought. Not only does the Drin and the Klingons share a common ancestry, but there was also the discovery of a Herc crash site on the Drim homeworld, which kind of explains potentially how the Drin accelerated their technological development in such a short time span. Now, of course, after the honor duel and after all these discoveries, it came out that perhaps the honor duel wasn't as honorable as was thought, but we did leave off with drunken shenanigans in the middle of a banquet hall, and otherwise, I would say a mostly successful first contact between the Drin and the Klingons. But where we're going to resume is the next day. You have all had time to get your hangovers handled, maybe start nursing blood wine or whatever the equivalent is of a Bloody Mary in Klingon society. You know, whatever you need to get over your hangover.
Right.
It's called
Warnog.
blood wine.
Warnog.
Warnog. But I did want to give you all a chance to interact and compare notes, because as fun as the banquet was, there wasn't a lot of time for you all to like, hey, they asked me this, or hey, they asked me that,
Sure.
kind of a thing. So we'll just say that you're all in the war room. It's one of your stereotypical senior staff meetings. Admiral Zark is there, and he's just very much listening and taking notes and interjecting as needed. And of course, if you need a reminder of anything that happened last session, just let me know, and I'm happy to explain.
Radical.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was basically it's a debrief.
More or less.
Yep.
All right.
So in my case,
Yeah.
well, Rank has a with this. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. We're both getting into the voice. Like, how do we do this again? No, you go for it. Go for it.
I've discovered that basically these guys, they're very, they're looking to advance their technology even more by allying with us. I was asked a lot of engineering questions of how things work. Of course, I was very evasive in many of my answers. So that's my report. That was from my table.
And you were with predominantly
Engineers
and all of that? Interesting.
Yeah. They were very curious.
Right. I was with, to no surprise, fellow medical doctors and such, and they are very curious in our technology. Perhaps we could use that as some sort of leverage for potential collaboration, shall we say, that may benefit both parties, but especially the Klingon Empire. I would certainly rather want to do more further research into the shared genetic traits we share, as well as the possible influences that accelerated their technical capacity. Perhaps there was also some biological work done as well.
Possibility.
We know they interacted with the Herc.
The Herc, right? But
vessel that crashed there.
But there's also did we say this is also to the end? How long ago was that? Like I had it as like a couple hundred, like not a super long time ago. That it would be like.
I think it was like 100.
Like I was gonna say, like if that was like 100
ago?
or 2 years, yeah. So not enough that it would have been like
200 years ago.
evolutionary, like normal air quotes, normal evolutionary acceleration to show any sort of genetic overlap.
Sure.
So that's where Honasto was going with that. Is like, we know the Herc were here. We know there's some genetic overlap. Are those two facts related?
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And of course, there's the news that it seems Commander Stizio was potentially pulling some of her punches in the combat between myself and her, which is not only dishonorable but also a blatant display of deception. It appears that they wished to get us into a table and wished to learn more about us, and the best way to do that was to lose the combat so that we could continue our relations, which fills me with some worry. If a culture so clearly defines their own rule set and then breaks their own rule set to speak with a foreign culture, then obviously there's something that
there
they're
is a lack of honor in that.
A hidden agenda, as they say.
Right, exactly. They very clearly are working towards something
Yes.
that we are in the dark on.
Their behavior also speaks
the moment,
to a
yes.
certain disunity, which may be a byproduct of the Herc's rapidity of evolution, or their proclivity towards moving towards it. Either way, was there not a separate party that provoked this separate conflict at the table?
One of the diplomats, I believe her name was Pawn, was the one that mentioned that Commander Stizio was pulling her punches.
This reveals an interesting dichotomy in their society. This greatness of honor amongst their champions, so heavily proclaimed, yet their behavior in a public display of disunity speaks to their entire culture not quite having come together that they might think us to. This is interesting.
Well, speaking of our own evolution as Klingons, not all Klingons are honorable. I mean, I just need to say Duras.
Klingons are honorable. Houses may not be. That is our job, to introduce the honor that is true to this society. If that is, it does not collapse under the weight of such honor.
Perhaps it's a side effect of their rapid technological growth.
It
I
certainly
guess
could influence evolution in a way, that's for sure.
Cultural
Hey.
evolution could be just as potent.
It also begs the question, did Astasia pull her punches of her own volition, or was she ordered or instructed to, or
That
even
was-
just encouraged?
Right.
Good
That was going to be one of my questions for the group as well. She appeared to be embarrassed when it was brought up that she was pulling her punches, whether that was due to her being caught in the lie or shame of doing it. It's just difficult to say. She was apologetic when we were at the table, but that is not unforeseen, at least.
Her loyalty came into conflict with her honor. We saw that her loyalty won out on the battlefield, but her honor went out in the end. Is this part of their culture? Is this part of their political structure? Is it their class? Or is it simply how a matriarchal society of warriors would function? We have such little information on similar cultures to build a model and to make an educated guess on how to proceed. Perhaps further tests are required.
More research.
So, Admiral, what do you believe are next steps? Do you wish us to continue contact?
And I think Admiral Zark kind of puts down his pads and kind of leans on the table, steeples his fingers, and goes, "This is both troubling and perhaps an opportunity for us. They are, from all reports, perhaps, at least on Astasia's part, attempting to get back in our good graces after realizing their snafu, as the humans would say. I believe perhaps it is time to... Perhaps a multiple-pronged assault would be best. And I mean that metaphorically. I'm not saying we launch our warriors on the planet. Captain Dagon, if I were to have you...
Sure.
If I were to have you, say, go down to the crash site that you detected, do you think you could get in and out with minimal interference from the Dren?
But probably.
All right. And then, Canas, I'd like you to continue looking into the genome variation, the genome similarity. If they are as close to us as I believe they might be, perhaps we can pull on some threads there.
Agreed. I will get some of my finest minds on it and get back to my lab.
Wonderful. Now, Akrak and Mori, what I tell you is something you'll have to figure out amongst yourselves, but I believe it is time for us to host Astisia rather than the other way around. Now, I'm not sure if that means we quite literally invite her up to the Honasto, or if we stick with a bird of prey, but I believe perhaps if we show her what we are capable of and what our ships look like, we might be able to not necessarily catch her in a lie, but we may be able to learn some further information about how their society is structured.
Perhaps a demonstration of a large-scale fleet exercise on our part would help to hammer home the differences and the path of honor and its benefits. It would also show to impress the Dren people the strength of the Klingon Empire. Perhaps it will allow us to exploit not only their uncertainty of the cosmos, but to give a good example. Perhaps if Astasia is as honorable as she seeks to be, we will be able to pull on that thread and have her honor win once over her loyalty.
Well, it's funny you make that comment because Chad is redeemed a complication.
Nice.
Yeah, here we go.
The war room, standard war room, Klingon affair, greens, browns, little bits of red. Red alert is actually happening. So klaxons begin sounding, and a chime comes from the command chair and says, Admiral Zark, we're detecting a variety of vessels decloaking in the Oort cloud. Please report to the bridge.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, up and out the door.
Flying through the door.
All right, let's
to stations.
We,
Wherever the
we
hell
did
lawyer
not, we
goes,
had no
they're
reason
alert.
to suspect the Drin had cloaking technology, right?
Who says it's the Drin?
That's what I was getting at.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So you all run to the command deck and you take your stations. And since you're already at capped momentum from last time, we don't need to do a roll here. But what I will tell you is that on sensors is something that is both very odd and very disturbing. You see that there is several Herc starships that are coming out of cloak on the Oort cloud of the system. So they're about 20 to 30 minutes out from where the Honasto currently is and where the Drin homeworld is. But there are 2 sarcophagus-class ships, so big scale 6. I'm trying to figure out how to describe a sarcophagus ship for anybody who's not seen Discovery. The main sort of central part of the ship is kind of shovel-shaped, and then coming off of the handle of the shovel, there's the 2 nacelles. But they're very big, very much the largest class of Herc starship that even the Klingons have ever been able to get their hands on. And as far as
we could say that from above it looks like a trident.
Yeah, that would actually be a good way to think about it as well. But one thing I would highlight is that the Klingon Empire in its entire history has only ever found 1 sarcophagus-class starship, and it was destroyed way back in 2257. So there's 2 of those suckers here.
We were not expecting to see that in others.
Right, yeah.
On the plus side, we know how to destroy those.
You do.
That's true, yeah.
The other thing is that there are a variety of other Herc starships of smaller variety. So there are, say, for example, some Daspu class escorts, which were kind of discovered around 2172, for those of you who care about your lore.
Yep.
And the Daspu wasn't initially intended as a combat vessel, but even though it's technically a cargo vessel of some kind, the Daspu is still very much something that can pack a punch in the right situations. And the problem is that there's 2 sarcophagi and like 10 Daspu. So starting to get into the range of, that's a lot of ships. But what I would highlight is that even just 1 Daspu could wipe out everything that the Drin have.
Right.
Okay, this is a lore-ish question, but
yes.
How would the Herc have been known to have cloaking technology?
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
If I remember my lore correctly, a lot of the Klingon cloaking device was reverse engineered from Herc technology.
Wasn't it like a technology transfer from the Romulans?
It depends on how you ask.
Right.
Okay. Alrighty.
It's classified way above our pay level.
Wait, hold up a second. Way above your levels. My guy's the intel officer.
That's true.
Yeah, so what I will tell you
yours.
then is that while the public believes that the cloaking device came from collaboration or trade with the Romulans, the truth is, the stealth systems and cloaking systems that the Klingon Empire uses are reverse engineered Herc technology.
Yeah.
Okay, how much of that is known to the rest of the... Is that like broadly known to the rest of the player characters, or is that still like hushed up?
Probably
That's still
you
very
and the
much
Admiral.
a hush-hush.
Yeah.
Okay.
High Council only clearance.
Interesting. Okay. And so they're about 30 minutes out?
Yep.
Well, I mean...
Ready time.
I mean, red alert. Ships. Shields are raised. But what are the admiral's orders? Are we sitting here and holding a defensive pattern?
Yeah, and I think
Klingons.
Admiral Zark is everybody screams information at him or shouts information
Yeah.
at him. The Admiral sort of sits back in his chair and strokes his chin and say, "Come open a hail to the Drin. I'm curious to see if they're aware of the situation." And of course the channel is opened. And again, audio only, because the Drin don't really have view screen technology, as it were. But you get Astizia on the horn. And Astizia is a little bit upbeat, a little bit tired, obviously a little bit hungover. But she says, you must excuse me. I'm usually not up this early in the morning. What can I do for you all?
Astizia.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you got it. You're the diplomat.
Astizia, does your planet have a degree of long-distance deep space orbital scanning technology?
And you can hear the hesitation in her voice. We are capable of some level of scanning. Is there something wrong?
I would assume that either your planet is not yet keyed in to communicate this, or your government forces have not yet made it known. We are detecting a sizable fleet of uncertain origins approaching the system. They are approximately 20 to 30 minutes from contact from our fleet.
And there's a very long pause as she takes it and says, I really hope that this is a dream, because if what you're telling me is true, then we have an enemy fleet in our doorstep. Did I get that right?
We have a fleet of likely hostile origin. If there is anything that we should be made aware of that has been known to the Drin, but not yet revealed to us in our short time, this would be the time to begin disclosure, or to have your government reconsider any stances they may take with secrecy.
All right. Important roll. Mori, presence, command, difficulty of 4.
Good luck, fam.
Let's see.
Ooh.
Persuasion focus comes into play. Let's see.
Yup.
Presence, command, persuasion.
And remember, you have 6 momentum, so you may wish to buy some additional dice here.
Let's see.
Or
I
use
gotta.
some determination.
Yeah, determination's always an option as well.
I'm saving for the determination for when it really matters, but I am refreshing the one that we normally
I don't
carry.
know if you could. I would consider this maybe really matters.
Uh-huh.
Well, we can't get determination back. We can get momentum back.
Well,
I mean,
determination you can get back by
back.
challenging a value, or if you've got veteran. I forget, do you have veteran?
I do, actually.
Yeah, so there's a chance you could get it right back if you spend it.
Why not? You know what? It exists to be spent. All right, so I will spend the determination and roll. Oh wait, hang on a sec. That's okay. So that's just like whenever he spends, regain it. All right, so I guess first I'll spend the determination, then roll 1 challenge die to see if I get it back. Oh, I have to challenge a value here to use it, right?
No, you just
Yeah.
have to apply a value.
Oh, just
Okay.
apply that value.
All right. I think that there is honor in truth, and in truth there is honor. It is time to be truthful.
All right.
Nice.
All right. So here we go. 1. Here's challenge die.
All right, so you do not get your determination back, unfortunately.
All right.
No.
But that allows me to do how many? So is that extra dice or extra?
So the way it works, at least in 1E,
Oh, there it is.
and this will be changed whenever we switch over to 2E.
Right.
So when you're doing the roller, set your dice pool to however many dice you're actually rolling, and then hit the using determination value, and it'll add another die to the pool that has already rolled a 1.
Got
So
it.
you're starting with 2 free successes. The question is, do you want to buy more dice with momentum?
I'm about to convince another planet that they need to start giving us the benefit of the doubt. Yes, I'm spending 1 momentum.
Okay, it would be 2 for a third die here.
Then I'm spending 2 momentum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Alright. Okay, so 3 dice and
5 successes. You get a momentum
There you go.
back.
Nice.
diplomacy time.
Right.
Yeah. So Astizia very much sobers up in a few seconds, and she's very much more cognizant and clear, and she says, you said we have 20 to 30 minutes?
our fleet has 20 to 30 minutes, depending upon our approach. We can shorten that distance. We can close to engage them, but it would be a honorable but futile gesture if we were to accelerate this battle. It is time to be crafty, and if we are going to be crafty and proper warriors, as I know you seek to be, we need every advantage at our disposal.
Then, if I might impose upon you, perhaps we need to speak face to face.
Agreed. Admiral, let us beam Astysia aboard with all haste.
And the Admiral waves for one of the underlings or one of the Becks nearby to get that set up, and says, Champion Astysia will be beaming you aboard momentarily. Please stand by. And Astysia goes, okay, do I need to do anything specific? And then
I would suggest you take a deep breath first.
Don't move. Don't move.
And yeah, moments pass, and the next thing Astysia knows is she is beamed directly to the command deck of the Honasto, right before the Admiral's chair. And as she materializes in, you see that she's actually in her full suit of armor once more. And as she looks around, she's like, huh, so that's what that's like.
Dagon wants to look at her her nonverbal reactions from the transport.
We will discuss the champion of Theseus philosophy later,
but she's kind of looking she's looking at her hand. She's kind of checking herself out to make sure every part made it through, and she goes, "Well, I didn't really feel anything. Was I supposed to feel anything?"
For a sense of questioning oneself.
If it worked correctly, no, you were not supposed to feel anything.
You're doing good.
Doctor's chiming in. It's like, no, you're fine. You're fine.
There were no flies in the transporter with you, correct?
I don't know what a fly is, but maybe.
It looks like Jeff Goldblum. And in any case, we have some. If you wish to discuss, we can do so here before the Admiral. If you wish a more secluded space, that is fine. But we must talk face to face with haste.
Indeed. And you can see that very much she wants to study and explore and push buttons to see what they do. But you see that she obviously has a measure of composure and control over herself. And she says...
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
I'd like to actually try to... I've got psychology as a focus.
Mm-hmm.
I want to kind of make sure that we're not allowing her any advantage. What can I roll here to kind of search... And I don't know what title we give her, Champion Astysia. Now is not the time for inquiry and curiosity. We must act quickly, or the planet is at risk, if not further. So I don't know if that's like presence something, but I kind of want to say, hey, look, yeah.
Yeah, we'll say, because I'm going to start introducing this as a concept since we will be switching to 2E at some point.
Right.
I'm just going to put a positive trait on the field. And basically what this positive trait means is that Astysia is very much on your side at the moment. So any attempts at diplomacy, persuasion, intimidation, whatever to Astysia are going to be at one less difficulty. So you're making progress.
Okay, cool.
But what Astysia is going to do is she takes one final look around and kind of sighs and says, very well, then to business. Can you tell me more about the ships that are approaching? I believe I might know why they are approaching. A ship such as this, and she motions around at the command deck. I obviously know not how large or how grandiose your vessel is, but there was once a much smaller vessel that crash landed on our planet many, 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 many eons ago. And it was simply by happenstance that one of our archaeologists came across an intact fragment of the vessel. And it came out that the fragment held a cornucopia of technological data with which we were able to advance our technology and our society forward multiple steps. And she motions at her prosthetic arm. Remember, she has a third arm on her back that's a robotic one instead of a real one. And she says, however, in cannibalizing this structure, this ship, whatever you'd wish to call it, we realized that a signal was inadvertently sent out into space. And if I'm being frank with you, when you all showed up, we thought that that signal was finally being answered, that you had heard that signal, and that you were perhaps here to requisition, reclaim, take back all the technology that we had advanced. So that is why we have been wary around you, and perhaps why we have not been as forthright as either of us would prefer.
How long did the signal broadcast? Was it a burst? Was it a short time? Is it continuously going?
As far as we were able to tell, by the time we noticed it, it had been broadcasting for over a solar year.
Interesting.
And roughly how long ago was this again?
Let me think. That would have been 15 solar years ago.
Okay.
So there's no chance that any of the signals intelligence people on the Honasto might have picked anything up interesting from background radiation.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you run a quick sensor scan or you run through the computer banks, there's not a sign of this transmission. It's one of those things where, like, on Earth, like, we've been transmitting TV and radio signals for a very long time, but they are so weak that they don't actually make it that far into space.
Right.
Tell that to Contact.
Well,
Right, yeah.
15 years, perhaps could be omnidirectional is a very large sweep.
Do we have any maps or knowledge of the area that could draw a radius of that one Drin solar year to planets, systems, anything? Or are we not that far in yet?
I would say that the Honasto is advanced enough that you could have been doing sensor scans of the surrounding area. So whoever among you has a good science score, you may wish to do a reason and a science here at a difficulty of 1.
Got a good reason score. I don't got a good science score, so
I got a total of 13 between them.
14 for reason science for me there.
oh, I actually might be the best then.
Feel lucky.
Definitely not me, if anybody was curious.
All right, well, I guess.
We definitely were curious.
All right,
Right,
well,
yeah.
let's give it a rollsies.
There
2
you go.
successes, meaning you get a momentum back, bringing you back up to cap. So the Drin system is kind of isolated, similar to how Earth is quote-unquote isolated, where there's not really a whole lot of star systems nearby. Because, again, you're kind of on the edge of the Segue galaxy at the moment. You haven't really gone too far in. The nearest star system, though, is about 13 light years away.
Okay. Do we know anything about that system?
You do. Just basics, though. You
Sure.
know that it is a Class G star, so very similar to our own sun, Sol. It's got some Class D planets, so basically mineral rocky planets that can't sustain life. And there's also what appears to be some form of... how do I want to say this? There's one very large comet similar to Halley's Comet that's passing through the far system at the moment. But you haven't really delved too far into that comet unless you wish to.
Interesting. Okay. All right. And so this is obviously the first time that a fleet has come to your doorstep other than us, yes?
And Stygia nods and says, yes. Like I said, we were very much wary that you were the ones coming to repossess the technology, but if I understand the situation correctly, perhaps the true owners of the technology have come to collect tax, as it were.
Klingons
Most
do not
likely.
believe in taxation. This is dishonorable.
I'm sure if our suspicions on these people are correct, they will not be gentle in reacquiring their technology.
And you can see that she's thinking and mulling things over, and she looks kind of at you a crack and says, tell me, do you believe that your fleet is capable of defeating them?
I'll kind of, look over the screen and the the inbound fleet. Like, it is definitely extremely possible that we could win.
If you look at Dagon, he nods affirmatively.
Right. But realistically, it will not be pretty.
Okay, another dumb lore question, but other than the two
Mhm.
sarcophagus ships, which we had described as huge, there was like, what, 10, 20 other ones? Are those like 10 or 20 smaller ships like
Smaller?
Birds of Prey equivalent, or single seat, or what?
Yeah, so let's put a game term mechanic on here.
Mhm.
So the sarcophagus ships are scale 6, so about half the size of the Honasto. The other vessels, again, are kind of those Daspu classes, and they are scale 3, so about the size of a bird of prey.
Mm-hmm. So, 10
Umbrella class,
birds
yeah.
of prey is basically in 2 of their big ships.
Mhm.
So it's it's definitely a fight, that's for sure. But it's manageable. But yeah, I mean, realistically, there will be things might not go perfectly, right? So.
So what do you tell Astizia specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I'll look to her and be like, we could be capable of defeating them, yes.
I see.
But it is a dangerous fleet.
Well, I don't doubt your capability. My only concern is that, and she kind of looks around again at the command deck, I get the sense that this is not the same vessel that you showed to us earlier.
Oh, is she referencing the vessel that is coming?
The
shuttle.
small Kabord class and the big
Right.
the big Honasto.
Oh, certainly
here,
not.
there's
No,
a
no.
difference.
That is correct.
It's just one of the children of this ship.
Right. The one that you saw
This is the parent.
Yeah, exactly. The one that you saw is currently docked in this vessel.
Fascinating. A ship of this size must be resplendent to see from a porthole or some form of a window. But sorry, my wanderlust and curiosity is getting the better of me.
That'll be for a later time, I'm sure.
Yes, indeed. Perhaps we can perhaps I can get the tour later. What I would say is that while I can't alert my people that we are perhaps becoming under attack, we have no way of defending ourselves at the current moment. We do, of course, have the capability of rapidly launching near orbit and orbital ships and facilities. That's how I, of course, came to meet you in the first place. But we have nothing in the way of weaponry. At least nothing, as I'm sure that this ship possesses.
You're in for a show.
Which leads me to a bit of another potential political and diplomatic problem. If it is all right with you, after I communicate back with my people, I would like the honor of staying for the battle and contributing in some way. I do not ask for much. Give me a single fighter ship, give me the honor of pushing a fire button, something that I can give to my people as a sign that we are not, shall we say, capitulating completely to you, or some form of subservience, because that was another concern that our diplomat shared, is that you would subjugate us.
We made our promises and bound them in our honor and our blood. So shall we abide by them? The distinctiveness of what action you could uphold would have to depend upon how we coordinate and act upon our response. This has yet to be determined, but I do believe that there is no harm in giving the honor of the first strike to the people that we have met here.
And
Dagon's having a hard time keeping awake there.
No, and I think Zark is.
Maury has this talent of putting Dagon to sleep.
Dagon goes to bed. He plays the speeches that Maury's done for the day.
Yeah, man.
Here we go.
Yeah, the fleet's cure for insomnia, right here, baby. Yep. Look, he's a diplomat, lawyer. What do you expect? In translation from
exactly.
Well, regardless, right now it does seem we have a common
Enemy.
Yeah, enemy may be not the correct word, but adversary, or we're both likely to be in the line of fire, regardless. Unless Maury can do some convincing magic, but I highly doubt it.
So from the Klingon point of view, a hurt vessel would be definitely the first feeling we would get as an enemy.
Yeah, we're definitely...
It's ingrained in our genetics here.
Yeah,
we have fine, convincing arguments. They are called disruptors.
Right. I have a funny feeling that they're going to be just as much ready to blow us out of the water too, if they had the chance.
But yeah, they're not coming here to be friends. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're not expecting us.
Otherwise, they would have communicated.
Right, and I think as soon as they identify that these are Klingon vessels, then any chance that we would have at diplomacy is not going to be there anymore. Because Herc and Klingon, we don't like each other, and I think that they're going to see that we're Klingons and go, "Oh, gross! What are they doing here? Kill."
Wait, haven't the Herc and Klingons not actually been in contact since the Herc got kicked off?
Right. My knowledge is a little.
As far as I know,
spotty.
that's the correct.
Yeah, but
also Klingons were servants of the Herc, so I don't think they would see us necessarily as a threat.
I don't know. I feel like they're going to identify that these are Klingon vessels. I mean, these are probably emblazoned with Klingon insignias that have been around.
You know, the reds and the yellows.
Quadrant.
You know.
Right, but how do they know it's...
we're probably just as much in the line of fire as the Dren.
I mean, long story short, they sent a fleet. Either it's there to convince somebody of power or to actually do fleet stuff. It's probably safe to assume hostile intent and threaten back, or just start attacking at some point.
Which brings me back to an enemy.
Yep. Now the question is,
not
what
friendly.
do we do?
You send one ship to say hello, not 20 to say hello.
Well, we can say hello with phase cannons.
So are we looking to charge them? Are we going to go to Cloak and try to sneak up on them, split the fleet, use the Drin as bait? Probably not. That's dishonorable. But what do we do here?
Well, it's funny you say that, because Admiral Zark is going to kind of clear his throat and say, "Very well, Astizia, if you would care to use the comms unit over here to communicate back with your people. Everyone else, let's move to combat footing, situation 2, and let's fire up that spinal lance. I've been aching to use this damn thing ever since I saw it being put on the ship. Perhaps an overwhelming display of force will scare away these Herc interlopers."
Understood. I'll go into the weapons console. We vibe.
Battle stations.
What's the range on this thing?
So the beauty of the Honasto spinal lance is that it is such a powerful weapon that it is effective up to long range. So even when they're still like 15 minutes out, you could still shoot them and, take them out if you aim correctly.
Yeah, I think we should give a good old Klingon hello to one of those sarcophagus ships as soon as it's within range.
All for it.
Just be like, hey.
And chat redeemed another evil complication. Thank you, chat.
Nice.
So,
thank you, chat.
As you all are getting ready to line up the spinal lance and get it charged up and the whole shebang, Astizia is of course communicating with her people, and Astizia she again has her helmet on, but you can feel and sense the grimace as she turns to you all and says, "My people are, of course, grateful that you would go to bat for us," I believe is the expression, but my government has requested that I communicate that we would like a vessel to be left intact for further study.
Oh, okay.
As long as that vessel that is kept intact can also be used for our own studies, I don't think
They're not mutually exclusive
Oh wait,
goals.
hold
but...
up. What is the legal definition of intact as far as Klingon maritime law? Because intact could be completely dead, blown to pieces, but 2/3 of it is still there, right?
I leave that to your discretion.
Is this like the 51% of a dollar bill here?
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Listen, you know, if
we blow a lot of ships up and we save one for boarding action.
Our first
Together they can
Get the
make one
Vex-
ship left intact.
Our first priority is to
some of
make
the
sure
Vex
we're not
on
getting
there.
blown up. So
Actually, wait, hold up a second. We're the dominant party here. We're the ones that, we have agreed that we're not going to outright conquer them, but we never said anything about we will agree to their terms. We can aim to do it, but we should always make no guarantee.
I agree. I don't think we should
Yeah.
guarantee anything fighting these
Yeah, I was
guys.
gonna say it's one of those like legal. Yeah, we'll definitely give it our best shot, but also we're going to
Because
be in a
we
battle,
would like
so-
to look at this technology too.
We'll give it our best shot, but we're also going to give it our best shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
I was gonna say it's
Egon
probably
says,
one of those
Beggars can't be
situations.
choosers.
Yeah, beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah.
It's
We will
probably
make
one of those
effort-
situations where if this was the Expanse, the Rocinante was
Mm,
legitimate salvage. So it's kind of one of those
Right, right.
situations.
That's it.
But yeah, so you say that to Astizia, and Astizia kind of goes, "That is acceptable, and of course, we are very thankful that you would even consider our request, since we have no bargaining chips in this race."
We have our own vested interest as well. We make no promises, but we will do our best to leave something for both of our interests, at least within the scope of all of our mutual measurable technology.
And then
Translation, we're going to try to leave some chunks.
Right. And Astizia nods, and then she kind of looks around and goes, "Very well. Which of these stations is the weapon one? I wish to oversee, if that's quite all right."
That would be over here. Yeah, you can watch.
She comes over and hangs behind you at a respectable distance. But
I
yeah,
would say
Right.
she should do more than watch. We are about to demonstrate the superpower of not even to Klingons. I say we give her the honor of firing the weapon.
I think our first shot shouldn't be from an alien species that has never once been on a Klingon ship nor fired.
I agree.
Any
She
of
can
our
watch. Maybe she
I
can
agree.
push a button later on.
Right. I think when we get
Mhm.
into close range and we're not firing the big spinal lance, that if we miss, that would be really sad.
She can observe
Mm.
and then maybe touch a little button as a treat.
Right. She can fire some disruptors when.
Secondary
Come on,
weapons.
Yeah. Right.
They've been nice. We're gonna show them what to fire, but it's not like
Well,
we're gonna tell her.
she doesn't get to control from frame one.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I-
no, I
but
don't want
I'm
to
also
press the
thinking,
button.
but also let's let her get the honor out of the way, so then her honor's satified, and we can at least.
We'll get.
do it.
I
You can
think
get it with
the
the
last,
secondary weapons.
Right,
we're
right.
gonna
You'll
have
get some
more
honor,
than
yeah.
one torpedo launched.
Okay.
She can have
Mhm.
one as a treat later on.
That's it.
Everything that we have is way better than she has. So anything that she presses up here is gonna be really cool for her.
Hmm.
Yeah. Even the smallest disruptor would be ooh.
'Cause I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the spinal lance takes time to charge.
Yeah, so this entire time you've been
Yeah.
talking, the Spinal Lance has
It's
been
been charging.
charging. And one of the Bex reports, "Admiral, the Spinal Lance has been charged fully, ready to fire at your command." And Admiral Zark, of course, does the Klingon grandiose thing of sweeping his hand and say, "Aim and execute." And yeah, a crack, since you are the one at the weapon station. This is a control
Press the
and
button,
a
press the button.
security at
There you
a
go.
difficulty of 4, because the Spinal Lance is
Ooh.
2 difficulty to fire, or 2 plus difficulty to fire, so it was difficulty 2, it becomes a 4 because it's the Spinal Lance.
Mhm.
And then the ship, the Honasto herself, will assist you with a weapons and security.
Okay, and then can I do minor action
I got the
aim
ship.
when I'm up here in space? Is that how that works? as well?
I
Or is
believe
that
you
just
can
on
do a
the
minor
ground?
action aim. I'd allow it.
Okay, copy. All right, so yeah, obviously.
Well, the ship
Starship.
crits, so that's already
There you
2
go, that's
successes.
pretty good. Yeah, we're definitely gonna give you the. Oh man, do I want to use a determination here? I guess we could.
I mean, you've got 6 momentum. I would spend the momentum.
We also do
here.
have. Yeah, that's true. And I do have a focus. Starship security systems would probably work. Is that
Mm-hmm.
all right? So we'll. I guess 3 momentum and the rest threat to go up to full pool of 5.
Yeah, so let's burn some of that.
Yeah, and
well,
we'll leave some.
before you do that real quick, because you
Yes.
only need 2 more successes here.
Oh, that's true. I guess right. Technically, I would have to do this before the Honasto, but we already rolled the Honasto, so.
Only the ship can give assistance,
Because
right?
the ship is faster than you.
Right, that's true. So I mean, I guess I'll still go up to 4 die because I.
Okay, so
So-
that would be 3 momentum then.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, using focus, and then I do have 1 reroll from aiming, but we.
All right, well, if
really
you want to
need it.
reroll, you're at 5 successes, so you do get a momentum back.
Do we really want to fish here? No, I don't. I know that if I reroll that 18, I'm gonna roll a natural 20. So let's.
I mean,
I
I
mean,
don't know. If we want an
all right.
overwhelming display.
all right. Okay.
All right, you get another
Yeah.
thing, you back up to momentum 5.
Yeah.
So, now comes the biggest dice roll that will ever be rolled in Star Trek Adventures.
Huzzah!
Oh boy.
I need you to either roll me, click the little Starfleet badge next to the Graviton Beam Spinal Lance on the ship sheet, or I need you to roll me 19 challenge dice.
All right, I'm gonna click the button. Here we go.
Click the button.
Oh my god.
That
I
didn't work
don't
right.
think it rolled correctly.
No,
yeah,
it only rolled
that's
one
only
right.
7.
No, it definitely did not.
Roll it 2.1 more times.
Let me.
Yeah, go
You
through the
want to-
perform challenge for some. I don't
Or
know
you
why
could
it
just-
broke for some reason.
You-
Yeah.
I'll roll 12 then. Do you want to keep that 7? You don't want to reroll the 4?
Nah, reroll the full 19. Let's go
Alright.
for big.
Let's
here.
make it really dramatic.
Yeah. All right.
There we go. All right, so let's
Whoa.
take a look at that. That is, let's see, 12 successes with 5 effects.
But I can still spend to reroll the blanks, right?
Momentum to reroll as many of the
One
blanks as you
momentum.
wish.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 momentum, and I'll
momentum,
reroll
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blanks. Is that?
9, I believe. One,
I
two,
see.
three, four,
You're right,
five,
9.
I see
six,
10 blanks actually.
9.
Really? 1, 2, 3.
No, wait. What?
9.
I see 9.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, you're right. It is 9.
Okay, all right. So 9 blanks. Let's try it again. Much
Okay.
better.
So that
Much
is
better.
19 damage with 10 effects.
Oh my goodness.
So I assume you were aiming at one of the sarcophagi ship?
Yeah. Just one of the.
That's a warning
one of the
shot.
Big ones.
Across
So-
the bow.
Yeah.
The entire ship, like the lights across the entire ship dim as the spinal lance begins charging up and a baleful glow begins to appear at the bow of the Honasto. And then right
Getting a
as the
Star Wars
lights are
feeling here.
getting right as the lights are getting like almost dangerously low in terms of illumination, the spinal lance fires, and when it fires, it causes the entire ship to rumble and a high-pitched sort of noise to go off. But what happens is this golden beam of light lances out from the Honasto, strikes the sarcophagus ship, and the sarcophagus ship is no more. And what I mean by that is it doesn't explode, it doesn't detonate. There simply was a ship there, and now there is nothing.
Did it do the Praxis explosion?
No, and that's the thing, is that there was
Not
no
even-
detonation, there was
Just
nothing.
vaporized.
It was tremendously
Oh,
vaporized in an instant from the spinal lance.
All right, now put up walls over every thermal exhaust port on this ship. We're not doing that twice.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, is that
Right.
as the spinal lance stops firing and the lights come back on, Bex began reporting, "Sir, we have a rupture of EPS conduits on deck 3. Sir, we have thermal sinks that
great.
are over capacity." And basically, this thing took a lot out of Honasto to fire.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. But that's
I would
okay. We took down one of their ships.
Yeah, that's great. I would like to throw in
I'm
commendations.
going to get engineering teams.
Well,
I'm going to get engineering teams on the working on the damages there.
Yeah, I was about to say commendations to to Dagon. Good job. That's beautiful. I'm in love.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I'd like to say a tactical potential scenario here, I think we should have the docked vessels get out,
Undock.
undock, and cloak,
Mm.
and I think let them kind of remain near the Honasto and start dealing with vessels as
Smaller
they
ships.
kind of get exactly. Yeah, have the three of them be cloak hunters and deal with the smaller ships while we would deal with the other sarcophagus. I think would probably be our best bet. And then I have a feeling that some of those smaller Herc vessels are going to try to make a dash for planet side. So we just want to make sure that the vessels here are prepared and ready to go on those ends. That would be my thought process. But
if it changes
we
your
ha-
mind any, I'm actually going to spend 2 threat to
Ah,
say that
maybe it will change.
the Herc vessels were, kind of aiming towards the planet. Now
Yeah,
they are very much not only doubling their impulse speed as they zoom at you, but they are beelining for the Honasto at this point.
Okay, well that's good. That's good.
Where should we put the Negvar in all this? Like, if we're gonna scatter the fleet, is it gonna lead a charge? Are they gonna go independent, go as a wolf pack or something?
Well, the
Actually,
Negvar
let's-
also
let's-
has cloaking as well, correct?
Yes, of course. But we can use the Negvar to command and control the 2 cohorts.
Yeah, I was going to say have it kind of
Coordinate
have
the
its
battle,
own little,
and
little
we
wing.
can
Yeah.
just swat the flies in space there with the Honasto.
Yeah.
They're like a separate
With those,
detachment.
with those broadside disruptors there, and then use torpedoes to take out the big
All right.
sarcophagus ship there.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a good plan.
All right, so we're not going to go into full starship combat because that's
Sure.
long and tedious, and frankly, we're waiting for 2nd edition to see if they fix it.
If they fix it, right? Agreed. Yeah.
But what we are going to do is I'm actually going to go to each of you in turn. I'm going to ask what you're doing during this starship combat, and we'll just sort of go down the line, and I'll throw in some damage here and there.
Nice.
But let's actually start with Donut. So, Kanas, what are you doing while all this is happening?
I may have just gotten kicked from. Okay, can you hear me?
Mhm.
No,
All
you're
right.
good.
Sorry, it's been going up and down. That's actually a good question because I'm not really sure what role would be best for starship combat. Have we been
Have we received
Yeah, I was
casualties
gonna say
yet?
what does our status look like? Or do we have any breaches? Do we have any damage? Even if it's just somebody getting a boop concussion or something that I
Did
would
somebody
need to...
burn their hands on the primary charge things for the spinal lance?
Yeah, is there anything going on in terms of that?
The
It's probably
Honasto
the
only
most
has
helpful.
lacerations at this point. They're just minor stuff.
Yeah, I must say, it didn't seem like we were taking any significant damage, but that would be the one thing I'd be keeping an eye on, perhaps making sure anybody down in engineering, if we're, firing our lasers, as it were, make sure
Maybe,
keeping an eye on that, but honestly, just kind of keeping on alert to just make sure ready to patch up anybody who needs patching up so they can get back and do some honorable dishing out damage.
Maybe there's some role you could do to allocate medical staff to different departments just to have them.
Yeah, I don't really know what I would do in
by.
Starship Combat.
If you have secondary people, get them to
Right.
everything's manually tracked in terms of weapon systems. So get extra sets of eyes and hands on targeting.
Yeah, they could throw some of them over to throw some of my
Prevent casualties by killing the other guy.
Yeah, throw some
Right,
of
and that way they're also there to help in case a console explodes.
Ready
there.
with the first aid kits down in engineering or tactical.
Yeah, I like it. Kanas, why don't you roll me a presence and a medicine and a difficulty of 2? Okay, I can offer you a success with a complication.
Let's do that.
All right.
Make it interesting.
So, Kanas, you start to retask and distribute your medical warriors, as we'll call them. And what you're going to note is that you are getting reports that, again, that sort of exploded EPS conduit on Deck 3 apparently was understated. And what I mean by that is not only are there burns and scars and concussions of all that kind of thing, but there's also a very much a radiation leak in that area as well. So you're going to have to inoculate not just those on Deck 3, but Deck 4, Deck 5, and Deck 2. So have fun with that.
Well, I was about to say, it looks like I got my wish of something to do during Starship Combat.
Yep.
So
But
you
the good
actually
news...
use the word scars as in a negative way. And scars is a good thing for a Klingon.
Yeah.
The good news, though, is that since you are leading from the command deck, is that you are able to appropriately task and manage your warriors. So for the moment, your underlings are doing their job. You don't need to actually get personally involved quite yet.
Cool.
Now, of course, if you want to grab
we weeded out the weaklings a couple weeks, like a couple sessions ago.
Yeah, the losers.
Exactly. But of course, if at any point you want to grab a kit and go and be hands-on, just let me know, and that can happen.
I'll see how it shakes out first here in the command, at HQ.
Okay. So up next is actually going to be the sarcophagus ship's turn, quote unquote. And yeah, they're going to beeline directly for you, and they are going to fire on the Honasto. So let me see. They have that much. I've got 5 threat. Do I spend the 5 threat? I will spend 3 threat to make it interesting.
Yeah.
And let's see what they roll here. 45. That could be good. That could be bad. Let's expand it out.
Could be good.
So that's a 3 and a 5. So that is a total of 3 successes. So they actually get a threat back for their trouble. And yeah, the sarcophagus ship is going to open up with its disruptor banks, dealing potentially some damage to the Honasto.
Nice.
Yeah. Tickle.
So let's see. Does it even get past your resistance is the question. So that is 10, 11, 12. Do I roll? Yeah, let's make it interesting. I'm going to spend 1 threat to reroll those 2 blanks. Okay, so that is a grand total of 11 with 4 effects, so 15 damage, minus 12 because the Honasto has 12 resistance. So the Honasto takes 3 damage to its shields. 3.
Yeah! Let's go!
So I believe you're down to 15 shields. But so narratively what happens is as the sarcophagus ship opens up with its disruptors, it's very similar to the Honasto's design where kind of a bunch of ports open up and then begin firing these green lances of energy towards the Honasto. But you feel nothing. The ship doesn't rock. The ship doesn't buckle. And in fact, the Beckett, defense systems.
I think I heard a creak in the aft section there.
Yeah. The Beck sitting at the defensive station says, "Sir, we've just been hit by something. It's barely a fly. There's minimal damage, sir."
That fly out of my sky.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
But I'm also now going to spend... No, I'll wait for that threat spend. Let's go to Dagon next. So Dagon, what are you doing during this little starship combat?
Repair team leader.
Okay.
That's one of my talents. So I'm going to make sure that the ship is in, operational during the whole combat.
And if I remember correctly, it is the damage control task.
Yes.
Which I'm trying to remember.
Well, that's only for breaches. That's only for the breaches, though. There's no breaches at the moment.
Yeah,
but,
not at the moment.
There's one that you can just
leading,
get the shields back to.
I'm just leading, so I'm getting my super. I guess it's like a command presence there.
Yeah, presence engineering for your part.
There you go. Presence engineering. I'm guessing I have a focus.
You do. You definitely do.
Certainly hope so.
All right, only 1 success, so you just bare minimum pass here because it was only a difficulty of 1. So again, your people are responding just as well as Kanas's people. You have your teams working on that EPS conduit. You have teams working on containing the radiation, everything you want.
Sweet.
Excellent.
All right. So now is where I'm actually going to spend the 2 threat. Because remember how I said that the Daspu ships weren't really designed as, like fighting vessels, that they're mostly designed for boarding vessels.
That's
boy.
Funny.
And for anybody who hasn't seen a Daspu before, it's basically a sort of this cylinder with a spike at the bow. So what's going to happen is the 15 or so Daspu are going to soar at the Honasto. And even though the Honasto has amazing shields, the fact that there's 15 of these things smacking at the shields at once means that these boarding vessels are able to burrow their way into the hull of the Honasto. And moments later, boarding, an intruder alert, boarding action, all those sirens go off.
Gotcha.
And specifically, what's going to happen is warriors are going to beam onto the command deck. Now, again, nobody has seen a Herc in a very long time. So what appears in the bridge is a very much as it is cliche to say this, an alien life form. They are vaguely insectoid. They kind of look like... Let me see if I can actually find a picture real quick here. Because you all have played Star Trek Online, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Not that far.
I have not. So
Here, let me grab a picture of them real quick. But they are bipedal. They have elongated limbs. They have actually insectoid wings, and they are very much not very pleasant to look at least in my book. But what
I
matters,
was about to say we got bitten by mosquitoes from how you were describing their boarding parties, and it looks like I wasn't too far off.
Yeah, mosquitoes actually may be a good nomenclature to use for them. But what matters is that there are now Herc warriors on the command deck, Herc warriors swarming throughout the Honasto, and this is actually where I'm going to say that your earlier training for intruder alert and capturing of the vessel, if you remember that episode a few times ago, that is immediately going to kick in and actually give you an advantage that any boarding action repelling is actually going to be at one less difficulty. Yeah, containment, one less difficulty.
Nice.
But I now am going to turn to Maury. Maury, again, you're on the command deck. Herc have just materialized. What is your action?
All right, so I am going to... Let's see. The detached vessels, they're doing their thing. Do we know what's happening with the sarcophagus so far?
It is closing distance on the Honasto to open up with the disruptor cannons, because they have to be closer for the cannons.
And is it the same? Let's see. And the disruptors that we already got hit with, they're the ones that did, nothing to us in terms of damage, right?
Correct, yes. Those were the disruptor banks.
Yeah, the cannons are different, so those will probably hit us harder.
All right. All right, I'm going to do a couple things if it's possible. You can tell me if this is allowable or not, but I've got intelligence officer. I want to set that aside to create an advantage I want to use coordinated efforts to get the cloaked vessels into a better position to do some damage to that sarcophagus and keep the heat off of us as much as possible.
Okay. Let me see. I believe that this could be... Let's call it a control and a command.
All right, and I've got some other fun stuff that happens at that point. Let's see. Command and
let's set the difficulty at a 2, because as you're coordinating all this, there's very much a battle going on between the Herc warriors and the Klingon warriors, and Astizia that is going on the command deck at the moment.
All right,
so she's getting her fun.
Yeah.
So with intelligence officer, is that a 3 that was reduced to a 2 through creating an advantage, or is that 2 going down to a 1?
2 going down to a 1.
Okay, all right. So that's my use of intelligence officer. Commanding bloodline does fun stuff. I don't think advisor. This is not assisting anybody, so advisor doesn't do anything. But veteran, that is all right. Let's see. If we've got 5 momentum, I'm going to buy 1 die.
Okay.
To make sure that we really do some good shit here. All right. So efforts. That's a focus value, and
you get the momentum right back.
All right.
All right. So to put a finer point on it, you have the 3 ships that are docked with the Honasto, or I guess no longer docked with the Honasto.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Negvar, the Mangholm, and you have the 2 birds of prey, the Nutka and the Vestarg. and you have the Nutcon, the Vestarg, picking at the boarding vessels. Do you have the Mangholm still playing goalkeeper between the planet? Like, give me a finer point on where these ships are going.
We can't stop the boarders, at least in terms of their tactics to storm us. But I'm sorry, let me rephrase. We can't stop the boarding ships. Not too much point in blowing them out of the sky, unless are there more on the way?
Yeah, I was going to ask how many made it and how many are still on the way? Because I mean, we can very easily we can shoot down the ones before they hit the shield. Yeah, so 100%.
Well, it's funny you ask that because decloaking is more of these boarding vessels. In fact, the more you look at your sensors, you're pretty damn sure that this enemy fleet was meant to overwhelm and quite literally capture the Drin homeworld with how many ships are out there.
Mm-hmm. It's a conquering fleet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't. Well, they probably didn't plan for us. I'm of the opinion that we should continue the fight on the. We should push the fleet to ambush and go after the sarcophagus with the intent of getting them out of the fight. If we at least take out their
command and control,
their command, yeah. If they don't have any command and control, then it's just a matter of mopping up. We can ride out the attack, or at least we can ride out these borders. We are going to have a lot more difficulty riding up borders and disruptor cannons coming in at us. So I'm going to be getting the Mangholm, Nutka, and Vestarg to identify whatever weak points that I know about. Because I don't know if I don't know if that's how intelligence also kicked in. Yep, they're going after the sarcophagus. We're concentrating them on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so the neck is the weak point.
Yep. So what I will tell you is that based on your role and based on the fact that you have 3 ships in play here, I'm going to let you choose. You may pick one weapon system on the Vestarg, the Nutka, or the Mangholm, and you get a free damage roll here. No roll required. Well, no extra roll required to actually hit. You just get a free damage roll here.
I got to expand some windows. Let's see.
Yep. I'd say
actually, looking at the Mangholm,
the Mangholm, yeah.
Well, it looks like the
Mangholm is missing. Yeah, the Mangholm is missing weapons. I wonder what happened there. Because it's got disruptor cannons, but it should also have disruptor arrays. I wonder what happened there. Huh.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'll make a note to investigate later. But what matters is that your disruptor cannons on the Mangholm are probably going to be your best bet.
They work.
So we're going to do 11 dice. 11 challenge dice, right?
Yep, 11 challenge dice. All right, so that is 13 damage to the sarcophagus ship. If you could now roll me a 1d20. And you do that by typing in Foundry chat. You would do /roll 1d20.
Okay.
Can you re-roll the blanks or no? Because it's the
if you want, but you're already doing enough damage for a breach.
Yeah. Gotcha, yeah.
16. So let me communicate here. So interestingly, what's going to happen is you coordinate the Mangholm to come in as the Nutka, the Vestarg open up a path for the Mangholm to come in and deliver a volley of disruptor fire as it passes by to the sarcophagus ship. And just like Dagon said, the neck is the weak point. So what happens is you don't sever the neck of the sarcophagus ship, but you definitely open up a large gash in the side, and the ship is rapidly venting atmosphere. And you can even see that there's Herc warriors being flung out into space as this is all happening. All right. So, I believe that is going to be Astizia, and then we will return to a Croc for quote-unquote round 2. So Astizia, without missing a beat, is actually going to produce one of her daggers that she keeps on her at all times, and she's actually going to be, without question, just going in and dueling the Herc. And unfortunately, I don't have any threat to give her anything, but if you all would wish to give her momentum... she does get a roll here.
Yeah, sure.
Give it to her.
Yeah.
All right, how much momentum do you wish to give her? Because remember, she's rolling under a 16 with a crit range of 5.
Crit range of 5. Whoa. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
give her at least 3. I'd say that'll get
yeah,
up to
like
4
I'd
die,
say
right?
2 or so.
That's 2 dice. Yeah, 2 extra dice. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, go down to 2 momentum, and I'll
wouldn't be
roll
enough.
40-20.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably not her best, but let's expand it out. Well, the good news is she still got 3 successes, so you do get a momentum back for your trouble. But what's going to happen in the narrative sense is Astizia kind of sweeps low underneath one of the Hercs, kind of swipes at her with this sword of some kind. It kind of looks like almost like an insect wing that has been reshaped into a blade. So the Herc sweeps it at Astizia. Astizia goes underneath the blade and drives the dagger up in an uppercut into the Herc's skull. And then, without missing a beat, flings the Herc warrior to the side, pulls out another dagger, and slams that into another Herc warrior's chest. And
Nice.
again, this is a warrior that kick a crack's ass very hard. And even though this isn't her best display, it's still very much of an oh shit moment where the other Klingon warriors, like the Becks who are responding to boarding parties, are like looking over in between their sort of melee and going, oh shit, kind of a thing.
Right.
But that is the end of round 1. We now come to round 2. A Crack, what would you like to do?
So I guess it sounded like the general plan was for. I mean, we want the Honasto to still fire at the big sarcophagus ship.
Well, what I would tell you is that firing the spinal ants is now out of the question unless you want to do a
Right.
difficulty of 6 because of how close the sarcophagus ship is.
But we still have disruptor cannons, right?
Yeah, you still have
And just
disruptor
as a
cannons.
refresher,
Yeah.
and just as a refresher, we sent the Negvar and the 2 cavorts to take care of the sarcophagus.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to be taking care of the little flies in our sky
Yep.
Is that
and the borders, of course.
Yeah, well, that's what I was wondering, because we're not really great at taking out a bunch of small things, are we? Do we have something that can do that? 'Cause
I mean,
Yeah.
just like
we have
I said
big
in the
guys that
intro.
do huge amounts of damage to one thing. So
Well, that's the
broadside.
beautiful part of the Honasto is you actually have the fire-based talent. And I know that technically the fire-based talent doesn't work this way, but narratively I'm going to make it work this way. Just like in the opening
Works for me,
narration in
actually.
the opening video, you basically have disruptor flak cannons, where all you have to do is tell me you're using the flak cannons, and you can disrupt a large area of effect with those disruptor cannons.
okay, gotcha. Because I was trying to read through the talents and nothing read like that. So I was like, I don't know what mechanically we can do here.
Yeah, again, this is why we're waiting to see if 2E fixes
Right,
Starship
right.
Combat,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
at a certain
yeah.
point, it breaks. So,
Okay, cool. Then yeah, I mean, obviously that and trying to get rid of a bunch of the boarding vessels before they hit us is definitely the best thing we can be doing here.
all right. So again, Croc, you're going to be rolling me another control and security, and the Honasto will once again assist with a weapon security. The difficulty on this is going to be a 2.
Okay, cool. Then I'll just give you 1 momentum. I'll give it 3 die on mine.
4 successes, bringing you up to 5 momentum total. So if
Cool.
you would now please roll me 18 challenge dice.
Alrighty. Let's do it. Bop, bop, bop.
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5,
Cool.
6 empties. And I'm assuming I want to get as many because it's hitting a spread of things. So I'm assuming the more damage I do, the more.
The more
Things I
things
can
you
rip
take
apart.
out. Mm-hmm.
So I'll spend a momentum and we will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like.
Yeah, I see 6. Oh my lord.
Better. Wowzers.
Wow.
So that is actually more damage than the spinal ants. That is
Yeah.
22 plus 8 effect. 30 damage. Just 30
Wow.
damage.
Oh my goodness.
1 damage
Only
per hit.
30.
Yeah.
Spread it
So
out.
what I'm going to say is actually, just like the opening video, the sort of not spinal, what are those called? The ones on the side, the port and starboard. Ventral, that's the word I want.
Yeah.
The ventral disruptor cannons all, kind of come out of their housing and begin vomiting this green fire, this green flak fire, destroying and otherwise disrupting the incoming vessels. And just like in the intro, it's just a sheer volume of fire that with 30 freaking damage,
Yeah.
I'm going to say that you nearly wipe out every single fly that has come and tried to bother you.
Beautiful.
Beautiful fly swatter there.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
The ship is doing its job, baby. Like,
Gotta love some
All right, so we
AAA.
got all the external flies. What about the internal flies?
right.
Well, that's my next question, because we're going to go back to Kanas. Kanas, you are coordinating your teams, but there is
Alright.
also a melee going on behind you.
Right. So I want to see if we can get a quick bioscan of how many of the Herc are on the ship. Like, what are we talking about?
No roll required. You would be able to tell that there's about 1,000 Herc that have been able to get aboard the ship.
That is a
Damn.
bigger number than I would have guessed.
Yep.
15,000 Klingons, 1,000 Hercs. Sounds like a party.
Mhm.
My goodness.
Fun couple of hours.
All right. Well, I'm gonna just kind of hope. How many are in the room with us right now? 'Cause-
There are, we'll say, Astizia's taken out about 5 on herself, so there were 20, so 15 remain.
All right. I'm going to assume I probably don't have my fancy batleth, but well, I'm actually
If
not
you
very.
give me a threat, I will let you have your fancy batleth with you.
All right. What are we at for threat? Hold on. I gotta pull it. I gotta.
I only have 2
I say
threats,
take
so
it.
I would be at 3.
Oh, heck yeah. That's nothing. All right, yeah, okay. I got my fancy batless. Yeah, because we know I can't shoot for beans.
Mhm.
I'm gonna start fighting. Hey, my people are doing their thing. I'm gonna trust them because, like I said, we weeded out the weak earlier. So let's start cleaning up.
All right. So, Kanas, you're going to be rolling me a daring and a security at a difficulty of 1. And remember, your special batleth, you automatically start with 3d20.
Nice.
All right, I'm just gonna make sure. Hopefully, so I just moved dice to pull 3, right? That's where I do it.
Correct.
And,
yes.
Correct.
and I'd say, does Makbara come into play? Because, martial arts? Maybe?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm good. Well,
That
I
would
mean-
apply as a focus.
all right,
Take it.
all right, sounds good to me. Oh,
So
come
I have
on.
good news and I have bad
Ah.
news. The good news is that you did succeed. The bad news is that there's going to be a complication. So, Kanas, why don't you describe how you take out 2 Herc warriors before I tell you what the complication is going to be?
All right, we're gonna go. And I have to go pull up the photo of them again because I don't remember. But I definitely want to de-wingify
Mm.
and then just kind of go right through the back on one of them. Let me go pull up the
Okay.
photo. Right, yeah. So I want to just kind of do like a quick sweep and a backstab on one, and the other one just kind of like a slice, like take out the legs and just leave them squirming on the floor.
Got it. All right. So you do the pierce through the back, you do the sweep of the legs, and of course, glorious blood spurts out, and it's the Klingon thing of yes, blood is spilling, my heart is pumping, yes.
Blood
The
of the
compli-
enemies.
Right. The complication, though, is that when you sweep the legs, you're a little bit too zealous, and your batleth is actually knocked out of your hands and is now on the floor.
Oh.
Well, at least I looked cool before that moment.
That's
And
true.
Yeah.
at least it's on the floor and not in someone.
Yeah, at least it's on the floor and not in their hands yet.
Do I spend threat to make it funny?
Yeah, really, yes. Please.
Look, go
Roll
bigger.
me. Can also roll me a challenge dice, just one. You don't want to see an effect here.
Nice.
All right, I just hit roll 1 die in the pool.
Perform challenge, then 1. Yeah. Okay, not an effect. It's just on the ground. It's not in somebody. You're
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
good. All right.
I like panicked when I was doing the challenge. I was like, I haven't hit this button in a long time.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to hit it anymore once second edition drops because challenge dice go out the
Right.
window.
Hey, don't
Oh.
exist.
No, for real.
Yeah, I know that
Yep.
sucks.
Oh, I gotta
Challenge
do some
dice
reading
are
on the movie.
majorly going away in second
Yeah,
edition.
it's weird.
Good thing I didn't buy any.
Yeah, that was a whole other thing where getting your hands on the physical
I-
dice were a whole ordeal, and it was a whole
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
I
did.
All right, so
I
that's
bought the Klingon
Kanas.
ones.
That's Kanas. We now go to the Herc. The Herc are going to be attempting to fight back against Astizia, and now that Kanas is kind of a little bit vulnerable, they're going to go for the 2 of you in turn. I'll give them 3 dice just to make things interesting. Let's expand out that 32. So I see only 2 successes here. So, Kanas, you have the option here. You can either take 4 stress damage, or you can be considered non-lethally injured.
Well, my stress track, I don't know if it's updated. I see it's maxed out, so I could take 4 stress. Whatever. This is a big battle. I could be a little stressed. It's fine.
You're literally a doctor.
All right. So yeah, on your sheet you would just you figured it out. You're good.
I clicked it, yeah.
So narratively, what's going to happen is some of the Herc warriors are going to come rushing at you, Kanas, and try to like slash at you with their wing-shaped blades, and you get a few nicks, a few scrapes, a few bruises, but you're not injured per se to the point that you would go down. So you're still getting hit, you're just not completely going down. On Astizia's side, the Herc warriors that are not fighting Bex and are not fighting Kanas are now trying to swarm Astizia, and as good as Astizia is, she can't fight off 10 Herc at once. So her armor's getting scratched, her armor's getting dented, and she is suffering some blows as well. But that's the Herc's turn. We're now going to go to Dagon. Did Dagon step away? Did we lose?
Oh, yes, I did. Sorry. Yeah, no, I'm here.
You're good. Yeah, it's your turn.
Oh, okay. So I'll continue with repairs. Look around to make sure I'm not in any danger.
Not immediate danger, but there is very much a heated combat, physical combat going on behind you.
So Dagon's going to be threatening engineers with, getting, shaving their heads bald and, taking their beards, and, if they don't fix that problem here and that problem there, and, seal that breach there, and it's like, I'm just going to have some fun with my engineers.
All right, go ahead and roll me another Presence Command difficulty of 1, or Presence Engineering difficulty of 1. All right, yeah, your teams are responding very well to your unique way of yelling at them, shall we say.
Mm-hmm.
Motivation.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So it is the Herc's turn again, and since you've taken out mostly everything that isn't a sarcophagus ship, I think the sarcophagus ship is going to try and open fire. I don't have high hopes for it, but
yeah,
I'll roll it and we'll see what happens here. So let's see. It has this many die. That's the roll. So it's rolling underneath a 10 on each of these dice here, and that's a 30. So let's expand that out.
It's 2 goods.
Yeah, so 2 good ones, which is all you need to hit in Starship Combat. And that means that disruptor cannons are going to actually be able to hit the Honasto.
Mm-hmm.
So how much does its disruptor cannons do? 10 challenge dice. Barely anything, but who knows? Let's see. Do I spend a threat to reroll here? Let me see, because that's already 12 damage, which again isn't anything to the Honasto.
Yeah.
So I think what's going to happen is the sarcophagus ship is going to open up with its disruptor cannons, and it's a very impressive light show. It's a very impressive display that any lesser ship would have been taken out or at least breached by this fire. But the Honasto is a mighty vessel, and the Honasto shrugs off this fire as if it is nothing.
Nice. We're built different.
Yeah, quite literally.
We've improved upon our technology.
Yeah.
Which
technology.
Which now brings us to Mori. Mori, what would you like to do for your turn?
All right. So now the venting atmosphere. If we have one more good attack on that same weak point by the rest of the fleet, would that be enough to just completely blow up the sarcophagus?
It won't blow it up, but you'll have caused a number of structure breaches that essentially it will be a sarcophagus of a sarcophagus.
Nice.
All right. You know what? Actually, it would not be a good thing if the distinguished guest of our new contacts would die too soon in honorable combat, although it would be favorable. But there's no greater honor than struggle, and struggle breeds honor. So Mori's going to start backing up Astizia, getting that swarm off of her.
Okay. I need you to roll me a daring and a security at a difficulty of 1.
Okay.
And let me ask this. I'm assuming you're coming in with a melee weapon, or are you using a disruptor pistol here?
That's a very fair question, and I'm really kind of leaning towards maybe going judo on them. How you said there were 10 Herc on her?
Yep, there's 10 Herc warriors with Astizia right now.
Nah, to heck with disarming. We're going in with the Batleth. It's time to start decapitating.
All right, daring security, difficulty of 1, and it will be opposed by the Herc warriors.
Daring security and hello bladed weapons. Okay. Do I want to spend the momentum now? I think I would like to spend more momentum. We don't want to have her dying too soon. As soon as I can get this darn window out of the way. All right. Go.
Oh, and you just got a momentum from chat. Thank you, chat.
Nice.
Thanks, Chad.
Aw,
Very
that's so nice.
On that back. Appreciate
Very nice.
you getting my back, fam. Let me put that back. All right. I said let me put that back. There we go. All right. 3 days. 1 focus. Let's go.
Okay, 2 successes. So the Herc would have to roll 3 successes here to counterattack against you, but I don't think it's possible. Well, that's a 17. That might be possible. Hold on.
Wow.
That 2 is a crit, but the 15 is not a success. So yes, go ahead and roll me some damage on your Batleth.
Yes. Okay.
All right, so same thing I did with Kanas. Why don't you describe taking out 2 of the Herc warriors?
Let's see. We're doing whatever battle cry a good Klingon warrior would. It's loud enough to hopefully do some shaking of the command deck itself. Gonna go in and get the head of one of them in a nice clean sweep upward of the Batleth, then twist it down and go for one of those 1, 2, 3 hit combos where they try smack them with the blunt end, upward strike, and then just right to the neck when the upward strike takes their chin, exposes their neck, and just blash it through. Or however many I get in that nice little vein. But yeah, Klingon law.
Very nice. Love it. All right. And that's going to drop the warriors on Astizia down to 8. Now, again, we come to Astizia's turn. Do you wish to give her any dice with your momentum?
Am I technically lending her assistance at this point?
I'd allow it. Yeah, you'll get an assist roll for her.
Nice. I say that, while you're assisting, just give her 1, right? So she'll buy a 3rd die,
Yep.
and then you're assisting. So.
Yep.
Okay.
Which allows her to re-roll one of her dice there,
Yep.
or all her dice, one of the 2.
So 37. Let's expand that out.
It's probably better.
5 is a crit, 14 is a success, 18 is not. So that is 3 successes already.
Nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
and this is still daring security, right?
Present security because you're
Control?
assisting her.
Assisting.
Nice.
Security 1. And
Okay, so you're actually going to get back 2 momentum for your trouble.
Nice.
And then I'm going to give you an option. Does she, and this is, for the group, do you want Astizia to be a badass and take out the 8 Herc? Or do you want her to so deftly and so expertly kill one of the Herc that the other Herc go, hold on, whoa.
Nah.
no.
Kill them all.
Kill them all.
They
Yeah,
boarded
I'm
our
not
ship.
keeping any of these guys
Yep.
around.
Yeah, they
Right.
boarded our ship. That's a no-no.
They
They're not
go.
here to be impressed. They're here to die.
Yeah, exactly.
In that case, what Astizia is going to do is with her 3rd arm, as she ducks underneath one of the Herc blows, her 3rd arm is going to grab that special Batleth that Kanas dropped and is going to turn into this whirling dervish, and heads and limbs and other sorts of parts of the Herc go flying. And when she finally stops spinning, all of the Herc on the command deck are dead, and everybody in the immediate area is coated in viscera. But
Nice.
Astizia kind of looks around and then flips the Batleth around to offer out a hand or offer the blade to Kanas and says, "Now this is a good fight."
Mhm.
Agreed.
Hey, what does that mean?
And everybody else is in awe and shock.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
But yeah, at this point, the only thing we need to handle are the boarding parties that the rest of the Honasto's crew is doing. So all I really need is whoever feels the most brave. I need you to roll me, what did I say? There were 1,000 Herc warriors. Roll me 10 challenge dice, please.
I was going to say, roll 1,000 die.
Yes, roll 1,000. No. Just roll me 10 challenge dice, and this will represent 100 of the Herc each.
Nice. Now, I was gonna say if it is beginning, like there's no need for me on the bridge, I was going to immediately get up and run down hallways and kill as many Herc as I can find.
Well, you can still do that, but what I'm going to say is
yeah.
that if you spend momentum and roll at least one more success, you and your underlings will actually wipe out the Herc, no problem.
Yeah, do it, Dagon, do it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Or you're doing some like fun engineering shit from the command deck and just de-herking the place. You're fumigating.
1, 2, 3.
3, yeah.
I'm re-rolling the three blanks there.
Yeah, you're good.
There we go.
So between Dagon and Croc, why don't you both describe how you get rid of the Herc borders?
Force fields and vacuum.
It's kind of epic. You trap them in a force field with me and a couple security guys.
Bug zapper. Bug zapper.
It's like, hey, I found
Yep, and then coordinated teleport on the ones that are getting sucked out.
Right. Yeah. Just perfectly placing me and some security guards in the areas where there's ones that are hiding.
Love
Helped,
it.
And I actually ordered to forget to teleport Maury. Suck some oxygen out of that boy. He's got too much talk.
Okay.
I am doing my job.
Just a 2-second delay on the teleport.
So good.
But yeah, so what's going to happen is as the battle sort of winds down, the end result is that there is lots of flotsam and debris of what used to be Herc vessels around the Honasto. The sarcophagus ship, the one that is still remaining, has been taken over by boarding parties from the Mangholm. And for the moment, the Drin homeworld has been spared an invasion fleet. And of course, the command deck and other decks of the Honasto are absolutely littered with Herc body parts, but that's a good thing. You know, that's standard Klingon affair.
Med Bay is very happy to receive body parts.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
Moving them down to medical for autopsies for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a chance to actually gather some info. If we haven't seen these guys in a while, just update the records.
2,000 years.
I'm about to say a while is putting it mildly.
Yeah,
Let's get some at least a millennium.
This is a great opportunity.
But as we wrap up today's session, I.K.S, you actually get a chirp from one of your underlings, one of your science underlings that has been working this entire time in a lab.
Oh, yeah.
And the underling, actually, I think let me see, didn't we give one a name? Let me check.
We give the gunner a name.
I think we gave one of them a name.
Yes, I remember now. Capres Rark, that was your good underling. I'll put it in chat as well.
Good underling.
Yeah, that's what my notes say. So Rark gets on the horn with you, Knas, and says, Doctor, I have interesting news given the recent developments with the Herc. You are vaguely aware of the fact that the Herc used to harvest and enslave the Klingons, yes?
Who isn't, but continue on.
Really?
Well, if the genome sequence is to be believed, I believe that the Drin are actually genetically re-engineered proto-Klingons.
Whoa!
Oh.
Cousins!
Interesting. Well, it certainly would explain some of the things we've been seeing.
Yeah.
And observing.
Interesting.
That vestigial dangling honor will do it every time.
Why didn't we get one of those?
I know, right? Imagine how much, like 50% more, like murder arms.
It's really good, yeah.
Huh. Okay.
It's called evolution.
Good work, good underling. I wouldn't say that out loud. I think it really hard though.
I do like this note. We named the Klingon tricorder the BP Boop Box.
Beep boop box. I remember that. Yeah, that did come up last time.
He's a BP Boop Box expert.
Yep.
This was named by the renowned Klingon scientist Morat.
All right. Well.
Wow.
Interesting. We've got a couple of shared threads. Would certainly be interested to know what the rest of the ecology of the planet looks like too. How long ago was that introduced? Since I'm going to make a pretty decent assumption this isn't the native Herc homeworld.
Well, if you give me momentum, I can have your underling answer that question for you.
All right. What do we got to lose? We're coming to the end.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it.
All right. Well, what you're going to determine is that actually almost every single species, whether it's flora, fauna, etc., now that you know that there is genetic backing that goes against the Klingon genome and Klingon species, things that would be found on Kronos, the Drin homeworld is a genetically modified version of Kronos.
Whoa!
Do the ferns have honor too?
The ferns, of course, have honor. Yes.
They are very honorable plantlings.
They unfurl as they please.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, that's crazy.
What
So that means we can eat their target equivalent.
Perhaps
Nice.
it wasn't mere coincidence that led us here then.
Yeah, maybe the higher ups know a lot more than they're letting on.
Maybe it was not necessarily just pure dumb chance.
Yeah, this feels too coincidental that we show
Too
up
coinky dinky.
at this particular location.
Dagon doesn't believe in coincidence.
Yeah, absolutely not.
All right. I think Maury's gonna have to think about how to tamp this down. Actually, I don't know if this is for or against what the High Council or whoever controls Klingon intelligence want to have happen. This could be dangerous knowledge to have.
Could be.
I mean, on the other hand, didn't we have that
So-
TNG episode where like everybody was secretly somehow related?
We
Like-
did, yeah.
So this-
What was it? The Chase? I think it's the name.
I
of
don't remember the
episode.
episode
yeah.
name, but I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
being
yeah.
like, "Wow, that's a cool way to retcon everybody having a humanoid base because we're humans."
Right. But there's humanoid blue with a line down your neck. Then there's humanoid Klingon.
Then there's humanoid bug. Either way, Honasto is definitely not thinking it was just mere coincidence that
Yeah.
this was a mission that
Oh,
just
yeah.
happened to be right at the start. Definitely not. Definitely something deeper is going on.
Yeah, we gotta have a chat with the Admiral. Maybe he knows more than we do.
I would hope so, being an admiral, but who knows?
Right, exactly.
Okay, does he know more about this?
Well, right.
He may or may
exactly. Yeah.
Or does he know more? Has he been advised of more? Like, if this is
Right,
big,
right.
how high up does it go?
Right.
Well, those lingering questions will have to be answered next time.
no.
At the beginning
Next
of
season.
2.
Next season.
Oh.
To be continued.
But yeah, I thought that went really well. I was actually a little bit worried because
Agreed.
of all the combat if we'd get to finish in time, but we're coming in just
That was
under
great.
the hour, which is nice.
Yeah.
You
I think so.
underestimated the power of the Honasto.
Yeah, we basically like punched through that like paper.
Yeah, were we meant to delete the one ship or?
I mean, I realized when I gave you the spinal ants that you would eventually delete something. I just didn't
Right.
expect it to be that. So,
Well,
but no, I mean, I don't mind revealing this. I like ships with big fuck off weapons that
Yeah.
you get to fire
Yeah.
once in combat, and
Yep.
yep.
And a
it's
Klingon game,
it's definitely a
of
big
course,
fuck
yeah.
off weapon.
I do
Big
like
time.
getting to just slaughter the mosquitoes,
Mhm.
swat them.
That was very good.
That was satisfying.
Too
Mhm.
bad
Now,
we
the
didn't
other
have like as a
thing-
battle cry raid.
Now, the only thing I'm going to point out is that you did this in full view of the Drin people, so even if you were trying to keep the Honasto a secret, they know about the Honasto, and it's
Well,
fine.
Yeah.
We cured their pneumonia. It's not a
I'm
secret
about to
anymore.
say they know we're more advanced. They have to have figured if they thought of going down that rain, thought that shuttle pod was not everything we had.
Yeah,
Right.
when we decloaked, they obviously have telescopes. They can see us. They know what's up.
Yeah. So just imagine, though, if it were Earth and somebody just defended our planet, and then we look up with our telescopes and go, oh,
Right.
shit.
Yep, and we have accomplished
that
what we
thing's
set
bigger
out.
than the moon.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But we demonstrated our power. We demonstrated, where we stand.
Mhm.
We're kind of saying, all right, yeah, you may have best us in single combat. Look where we are on the intergalactic scale.
Mm,
Look on our works, ye mighty, and despair. Ignore the end of
exactly.
that poem.
All right. Well, we'll be back with Honasto in a few weeks. I believe that Donut and Monjadin will be out for the next couple weeks. So hopefully, schedule willing, we'll be back somewhere around the 29th. But play it by ear. We'll just sort of see what everybody's schedule shakes out to be. But we are going to continue with Season 2, unless the players tell me they hated everything when we close out the
God,
session.
no.
No, more Klingons.
Season 2, we just have new haircuts.
Right, exactly.
All right.
Everyone shows
Well,
up with a goatee. Yeah.
Twitch, stick around because we're going to raid somebody. But YouTube, this is where we say goodbye. Bye, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
Bye, you two.